I came across my friend's bachelorette photos and I found out that she did not invite me even though I am her bridesmaid. Now I want to drop out of her wedding and our friendship. I am currently 13 weeks pregnant and my friends around me have all been very happy and excited for me. However, my childhood friend Lisa stonewalled me since I announced at 8 weeks. I had assumed it was wedding stress, but now I'm second guessing this. In the weekend I was scrolling through Instagram and I came across a post where she had thanked everyone for coming to her bachelorette, photos of the girls and her smiling in the middle, and I sorta sat there shocked. At first I tried to be mature and just let it go, but this was a girl I grew up with. She was a bridesmaid in my wedding party and I'm an honorary bridesmaid for hers. She's not having a wedding party. In the end I guess hormones took over and I ended up reaching out to her. At first I went, "Oh, looks like fun," and she replied that it was, and after a tub of ice cream and a good sob I reached out and went, "Hey, sorry to be this person, but why wasn't I invited?" She immediately messaged me back with the response, "TBH, the whole day was centered around drinking, wineries and heading to town after, and I'm not sure you would have enjoyed being around all of us drunk AF, especially because you're pregnant right now. I get that an invite would have been nice regardless, but in all honesty I just wanted to keep it very small. I'm really sorry you feel that way, but I don't want to make this a big thing. BC, I've already had a poop week." I tried to respond with, "Hey, thanks for getting back to me, but I'm still upset cause the day is about you and I wanted to be there to celebrate you." And then she rung me and just asked me to not make this a big thing once again, and she sounded incredibly annoyed and like the doormat I dropped it. After thinking this over for the past few days, I'm feeling very hurt and heartbroken. This was a girl I grew up with and loved and supported through a lot of poop. I've helped her plan and prepare a lot of her wedding, so to suddenly get iced out like this, I'm feeling a certain way. Update 1 day later, so I haven't heard from Lisa, that I expected. What I didn't expect is a friend of Lisa to get in touch with me. Let's call her Sarah. I knew of Sarah and spoke to her a few times at events we attended together, and she was one of the girls with myself went wedding dress shopping for Lisa. She was also a friend I noticed wasn't at the bachelorette, which was a surprise anyway, and at first she was doing a "Hey, how are you?" and we did polite small talk blah blah until she finally went, "So are you?" as pissed off and mad as I moved Lisa up. Immediately I was slightly shocked, as the few times I had met Sarah she was very, I guess, demure. That opened the floodgates of information and she told me everything she knows. So what I didn't put in the post is I actually waited 2 days before messaging Lisa about the lack of invite. Turns out 3 of Lisa's friends who also weren't invited hit her up immediately after she posted on Instagram asking why they weren't invited. Turns out these girls absolutely chewed Lisa alive and my confrontational was soft, and finally it was revealed what actually happened, and now I'm even more confused. So Lisa admitted to Sarah that her sister-in-law planned the bachelorette and just decided she was only going to invite the friends she knew. So Lisa's usual group of 8-10 friends including me got narrowed down into 4, and Lisa decided not to correct her sister-in-law and just went with it, not realizing how many people she would be upsetting with not inviting people. Apparently once people started attacking her, Lisa buried her head in sand and started making up lies to everyone on why they weren't invited and using the same excuse of "don't make this a big deal," until everyone realized the reasons were bullshit and called her out for it, and the real truth came out. Sarah has informed me the girls who weren't invited have all pulled out of the wedding, their partners included, because they got the same annoyed response from Lisa before she told the truth, and they all thought they didn't deserve that. Then she finally asked me what Lisa told me and I went deathly quiet on the phone before finally admitting she used my pregnancy as an excuse, which then started poor Sarah on another rant of anger on how Lisa could say that to me when I'm pregnant. Anyway, we ended the call and she hoped we could get coffee sometime, so I think I've made a friend. Update 2. I finally shared what had happened with my mom, and first mom was so upset for me but also gave me an "I told you so" op. "You are too much of a doormat." Thanks mom. But she then said I have a big heart and sometimes people tend to use and abuse it. Once again thanks mom. Anyway, mom then gave more tea, more gossip. So apparently while Lisa has been telling people that she's paying for her wedding out of her own pocket, turns out a big fat lie. Lisa's mother had been sending her money, and from what my mother told me it was a decent chunk of change. How do we know this? Well, Lisa's mom went to my mom upset because one thing I forgot to notice is Lisa's mom wasn't invited to the bachelorette party. So Lisa's mother was distraught because she had been sending Lisa a decent amount of cash, had been told she wasn't allowed to give her opinion about anything to do with the wedding, and then wasn't invited to her bachelorette. And Lisa's mother is honestly a nice lady, so to hear that it kinda broke my heart, and if I had known Lisa's mother was sending money I would have told Lisa to pull her head in. My mom then had to break the news about why I wasn't invited to the bachelorette, and Lisa's poor mother was mortified. Final update. I attended the wedding. I know you can all boo me in the comments, but I was leaning towards not going until I spoke to my mom, who ultimately told me this would be a nice way of closing our chapter of friendship. I could walk away with my head held high. Later she told me that also Lisa's mom begged my mom to convince to me attend. I attended with my husband and I immediately noticed the vibe and aura was completely off. People of Reddit who are married who will understand me. Weddings feel like love. This didn't. This was technically a Instagram picture perfect wedding, but it could have been anyone's wedding. It didn't feel personal. My friend barely smiled unless it was photos. Her vows were robotic. And the mo was useless. That was my biggest pet peeve. It is not that hard to see the bride's dress needs fluffing or she needs a drink, and even I'll admit I felt no joy watching speeches and how everyone spoke about the groom and threw something in for the bride at the last second. The bride acted like we were good, like there was no beef. like the bachelorette thing never happened. I felt strange. I didn't like it because I know her and she isn't able to hide her emotions and she wears her emotions on her sleeve, so I think she genuinely thinks nothing is wrong between us. She pulled me aside and said how she loved and appreciated me and how she was excited to be an honorary auntie and kept touching my belly and blowing kisses at it. I left the wedding feel a lot of emotions. I know I'm hormonal right now and I feel everything, but I don't know, but I can sit here and admit the friendship is done. I don't think I can look at her the same after everything I learned talking to my mother and with how I was treated. The chapter is closed, and other than the bridesmaids thing, I can look back somewhat fondly on our childhood and time together, planning our marriages out with our Bratz dolls. I've never been good with friendship breakups, but this time I think I am. I think I'll be okay.